Good afternoon, friends. Winners and losers are born. They are the product of how they think. With this thought, I welcome you to the next session of our Induction Ignite 2021. I'm Professor Arpit Trivedi, your event host and moderator. Let me take you through the process of how we will conduct the webinar today. Our guest will address the batch for 75 minutes. First 60 minutes will be knowledge sharing and last 15 minutes will be question and answers. Students are encouraged to put their relevant to the topic questions in the chat box. Now, I would take this opportunity to introduce our next speaker of the day, Mr. Dhomne. Sir is currently working as Vice President IT and Chief Information Officer, Manipal Health Enterprises, Manipal Group. Sir has a rich experience in the domain of IT infrastructure, IT security, ITIL, data center operations, IT strategy, IT roadmap, and IT investments. In the past, Sir has extensively worked in sectors like manufacturing, infrastructure, multimodal logistics, and healthcare. Sir has been recipient of Best CIO Award, IDC Insight Icon Award, and CIO 100 Hall of Fame Award. Sir is alumnus of Nagpur University, Indira Gandhi Open University, and prestigious XLRI Jamshedpur. Now, I would request Sir to open the session for our students.
Thanks, Professor, for this wonderful introduction. I really appreciate that. And morning, everyone. It's indeed a pleasure to be here in front of all of you today and talking to you. And trust me, this is the first time I'm actually talking to the students. So far, I had always been interacting with the corporate world, the professionals, the CIO community, and a lot of other, employees of various organizations like IIEBM, Dell, Cisco, etc. But coming face to face, in fact, I would not say face to face, screen to screen rather. We are in a digital era now. So coming, so-called face to face with the students, this is the first time for me to interact with all of you guys. And I always believe that, this is the stage when each one of us, we are trying to understand what the outside world is, and whatever we are doing, how is that going to help us to be part of this outside world, and how we can make our career better, how we can become a better human being, how we can contribute to the growth of the country, and so many other things. So having said that, the topic which is given today to me is basically the healthcare, the digital hospital. And the bullet points which I'm going to cover, they are what is the healthcare industry in India, how does it look like, where are we today in terms of its potential, its challenges, the current landscape, what is the way forward, what is happening in this industry. Then secondly, I'm also going to cover how technology is actually transforming this industry. There's a major role of technology which is being played in the healthcare industry, and that is going to make almost every other hospital very, very technology dependent and so-called digital hospital. So let me start with the first, bullet point of this interaction with you guys. And once we complete this interaction, definitely I'll be keen to take your questions and try and reply to your questions to your satisfaction. Now, coming to the healthcare industry in India, basically, there are private players and there are, government hospitals as well. Government also has their contribution, state government, central government, and all that. Predominantly, the healthcare industry in India is, more driven in terms of technology and the growth from the private hospital side. Coming to Manipal hospitals, which I represent today here, I work as the CIO, Chief Information Officer and Vice President for Manipal Hospitals. And Manipal Hospital is actually the second largest hospital chain in India. We are growing very fast, and we are present almost in 24, we have 24 hospitals, 14, 15 locations, and we are pretty much there in Pune as well. Recently, we have acquired Columbia Asia hospital chain, and in Pune we are present in Kharadi, and as well as in Baner we are coming up with a multi-speciality big hospital. Most probably that hospital will get launched sometime next year in May or June. Having said that, Manipal has a presence across 24 locations and we are growing. In terms of employees, we have roughly around 11,000 employees. around 4,500 doctors. Okay, and it's a large ecosystem which is present today there. Now, if you look at the healthcare industry landscape today, it is basically measured in terms of how many beds are there per 1,000 people, how many doctors are there per 1,000 people, how many nurses are there per 1,000 people. And if you look at all these parameters, we are still lacking compared to the world average. I mean, if you take example of the developed countries, they are still much better in terms of these ratios. We have lesser number of doctors, we have lesser number of nurses, we have lesser number of beds. And we need to catch up. We need to catch up very fast. And that's the reason why there's a huge potential for this healthcare industry to grow. There's a lot of investments happening in this industry. The foreign investors, the Indian investors are putting a lot of money so that we can enhance the capacities of each hospital. We can build up new hospitals. We can construct new facilities, new multi-specialty hospitals. To the existing facilities, we can add more beds. Then we have to generate more doctors. We have to generate more nurses, because it is not just we keep on adding the hospitals and beds, etc. We also need skilled manpower. We need skilled doctors. We need clinicians. We need all the supporting staff to run these hospitals. Okay, so as of now, definitely, if you compare India with the developed nation, and also the similar countries, comparable to the Indian kind of, population, we are much behind in terms of our healthcare infrastructure. And you all of know that, currently we are facing the COVID situation. And this was the time when our entire healthcare infra was put to test. And we could not manage with whatever capacity we have. We had a very bad situation where we could not get beds for our people. In fact, we lost lives. We lost some of our relatives. We lost people from our family. And the situation was really very worst. And COVID has actually sort of given us a lot of lessons on various things. One was definitely that we need to build up. We need to, improve our healthcare infrastructure in the country. We need to have more doctors, available to us. We need to have more nurses available to us. We need to have oxygen cylinders available to us. We need to have better ICUs available to us. We need to have the required drugs available to us. So on all these fronts, we had issues. And I think each one of us have sort of, faced the COVID, situation in a different way. Even personally for me, I lost a couple of family members to COVID. And being into healthcare, in fact, I used to get calls from most of my friends for the want of, the bed or the ICU, or some, medicines, etc. To some extent, we were able to help. But then at some point of time, it was so difficult to say, sorry, that, I won't be able to help because there's no, stock available. So that was a situation all of us have gone through, and we are still not out of that situation. We are still there. I mean to say, there's a third wave which is coming in, and each one of us have to be really very, very alert, very, very careful. And we need to take all the precautions so that we don't unnecessarily put stress on the healthcare infrastructure, which is already not at par in India for all of us. I'm sure going forward, we will start building up, more and more, healthcare facilities, healthcare infrastructure, and probably situation, few years from today will be better compared to what it is today. But then it's a long journey for all of us. We need to catch up, and it needs a lot of money, a lot of efforts. And as I said, that even if we sort of build new hospitals, we bring in new beds, we don't have doctors, right? Because we have limited colleges which can produce a lot of doctors. So I think on each front, government has to play this quite well. And I think things are happening, things are moving. Now, let me come to the other aspect of this thing, that what is that the healthcare, as an industry has the potential. These are the challenges what we discussed just now. But healthcare as an industry offers a lot of challenges. So when we say that there are problems, right? So the other side of the problem is actually a challenge. Let's take an example that if I say that India has a very low penetration of mobile phones, okay, or India has a very low penetration of broadband connections, or India has a very low penetration of, let's say, the electric vehicles, electric cars, or electric scooters for that matter. So the other side of that is it's a potential, it's a huge potential, okay, which means people who are very keen, who are very eager to build a career or do some kind of investment, okay, then this is the kind of potential what they have. So what I'm saying is that if some of you are thinking to build a career into this industry, I would say this is the right time to be into healthcare industry. It's booming, okay. And when you are into this industry, actually, the two aspects of being in this industry. One is definitely each one of us have to make money. So we got to earn some money, good salary and all that as we proceed. That aspect is anyways there. The second aspect is that there's some kind of, I should say, satisfaction you get that you are helping somebody to get cured. Somebody is admitted in hospital, and some of your efforts, directly, indirectly, you may be part of IT team, maybe part of finance team, you can be part of procurement team, you could be part of nursing team, the different, skilled manpower there, unskilled manpower there. So even if somebody is just sort of, cleaning a bed or putting a bed there on the bed, so they are directly, indirectly helping that patient to get cured. And trust me, hospital is not a place where everybody wants to come, right? People would like to enjoy in malls and shopping complexes and movie theaters and stuff like that. Nobody would like to come to hospital by choice. Okay, they have to come to the hospital only when there is a compulsion, only when they need a hospital. Okay, so when they come there, okay, it's like Hindi mein we say that sukh mein apne help nahi kiya chalega, but at least dukh mein usko help karo. So if you go as per this ethos, right, then definitely you are directly, indirectly contributing to the care process to get that patient cured from the hospital. So I am into this industry and I worked for almost 6 to 7 different industry verticals. To name a few, the manufacturing, software development, then education. I was teaching computer science also for some time. Then I worked for logistics. I worked for airport industries. I worked for SEZ, highways, and all that. And then finally, I came to healthcare. Being here with Manipal for the last 13 years, trust me, I'm really enjoying my job. Okay, I'm enjoying my job not just from the career and the financial aspects of the job, but the fact that which I just now mentioned. I many times go and meet those patients. I many times go and meet the relatives. I just sort of interact with them, okay? Just asking them a generic question about the patient who's admitted. And it gives a lot of satisfaction when you go back home that you could at least speak to, 1 or 2 people and try to understand what the pain they are going through because of whatever the current situation they have in family. So even it takes care of that aspect as well. So financially, emotionally, from the personal, other perspectives, I feel that I'm really blessed, privileged to be part of this industry. This industry has given me so much. It has really given me, at a personal and professional front, many things, and I'm really cherishing those things. And I'm looking forward to my another almost 10 years of career, which is still remaining in this industry. Maybe even after that, I would like to continue with this industry. So coming back to the point, healthcare as an industry, there's a huge potential. Trust me, guys. And if you really are keen to sort of come to this industry, this industry is not only for doctors, nurses. Okay, I am an IT professional, right? For the last 25 years, I'm into IT. With Manipal for the last 13 years. The kind of systems which we could build, right? And the way it is helping patients, the way it is helping the patient, relatives, they're really, really excited to use the, services given by Manipal. Now, let me quote few examples here. When the COVID hit us, it hit us very badly. The first wave happened sometime last year in March, and then we had a nationwide lockdown. Our Prime Minister announced the complete lockdown just to control the situation. and we all were kind of stranded in those four walls. We were at home, no transportation, nothing, everything is just closed. But even during that time, our hospital was open. Every hospital was open. They were operating because patients were continuously coming, emergency patients. But for those people, who had a normal cold, cough kind of situation, they could not come to hospital. Okay, so there was only one option for them to get the attention of a doctor, was doing a video conference with a doctor, a video consultation. So my team in Manipal, I have a team of almost 50-60 people in Manipal. My team in Manipal, they have built a video consultation module using technology within exactly 7 days. Okay, this was rolled out in the month of April. So we had this situation hitting us sometime in the mid-March sometime. And first week of April, we were ready with the video consultation technology. And that we used WhatsApp very rigorously. And we communicated with all the patients that they can do the video consultation with doctor and they can do it through video as an option. So technology was used. We used to have almost, every week some 5,000-6,000 video consult, and doctor used to do the consultation on video. And, we used to send the prescription through WhatsApp. They used to make the payment through the payment gateway. The payment link used to go to them, the Google Pay and the other different payment methods. And also, pharmacy used to send the medicines to home. And if the patient is advised for some kind of, investigation, the lab person used to go home and pick up the samples. So all of that was happening using a digital platform. Okay. And we were able to at least, continue services to some of our patients through the digital platform. And digital helped that way. So it's not only IT, we did this kind of work. Even other department sitting at home, as I said that, since we were not able to come to hospital, it was only doctors and the support staff. Sitting at home, even the HR person, the finance person, the supply chain person, because when, hospital is operating with a lot of stress, we have to make sure that there are no raw material, the supplies, the drugs, the consumables, the mask, the surgical stuff, this, that. So all of that supply has to continue to the hospital. So the purchase person sitting at home needs some kind of technology to connect to the hospital environment, hospital system, because everything is on computer system today. There's no manual process in Manipal Hospital. We are mostly all our hospitals are digital hospitals because the information is completely processed using technology platform. So when the support staff is sitting at home, we had to enable those technology options for people sitting at home, so that it's like work from home. We all of us know that, work from home. So we had to provide them the options to connect to our ERP solution. We got ERP, SAP ERP, we have hospital information system, there are a lot of other software solutions. So we had to enable them to connect to those platforms. And, let's say, for example, if I am a procurement person and then, we need some surgical mask in hospital, right? So from sitting at home, he has to connect to the ERP. He has to release the purchase order. He has to put the GRM system. He has to receive the stock. The stock has to get transferred from system A to system B, so that the nurse and the doctor can look at the stock, and nurse can actually, deliver those kind of medicines, or doctor can prescribe the medicines to the patients. So this entire ecosystem has to continue working even when there was a lockdown. So this was possible only using the digital technologies. And therefore, our last point here was that digital technology, how it plays an important role. So when each one of us were at home, we were still able to contribute. In fact, we used to, sometimes also get some appreciation that you guys are better, you guys are better when you're at home. The productivity is better when compared to you being in office. So at home, when you're there, right, there is no 9 to 6 kind of job. Anytime any request comes or anytime any task is given, even if it is 8 o'clock in the evening, your computer will beep or you get some kind of alert and you log in and you perform that task. So you're kind of available 24/7. All these facilities, all these hospitals, they operate 24/7. There's no, nothing stops. Okay, because healthcare is a 24/7 service, and during pandemic, okay, there was so much of stress anyways. We had to keep up our supply chain, because if there is no supply chain, okay, we won't be able to give medicines or whatever services we need to give to our patients. It will be affected. So people sitting at home, they were using work from home option. A lot of technologies were enabled to them, remote login and all that, and they were able to perform all their activities. Also, not just the IT and supply chain, the finance, the HR, marketing, every function was using the technology. So that's part of the technology thing. Now, even if today the COVID situation is a little bit, I will not say we have come out of this, they're still there. But even today, a lot of people, they prefer digital consultations. Okay, because there is still that fear factor. People are scared to come to the hospital because of COVID situation. Even today, people are preferring the digital platforms to talk to their doctor. And if it is digital, you don't have to be physically in that city. You can be anywhere. You can be in a remotest place. The only thing you need is a good connection, network connection. Okay, and today with Jio and Airtel and Vodafone and all that, I think we have good quality internet connections, at least where we can do 5-10 minutes kind of consultations on the digital platform. So digital is actually a future here that's going to stay. It's going to actually catch more and more momentum, and video consultations, not only the consultations, but also if some surgery is happening in India and doctors need the advice of some foreign specialist, okay, they can make the digital feed available to the doctor in other country, and he can actually watch a live surgery and give suggestions, give inputs to the operating doctor sitting here. That is also one of the application of digital. Again, in digital, let me give an example. We had implemented one digital platform in Manipal, and that's called as IBM Watson. I don't know if you guys have heard about this kind of software. The Watson is basically AI and machine learning software, which is used by the oncologist, the people who treat cancer, to understand what are the best cancer treatment options available. Let me cite one example to you here. Let's say there is a cancer patient who comes to hospital, and every cancer patient's treatment is very unique in its own way. So when the oncologist, the cancer specialist, he examines the patient, he has to then decide if there is a particular cancer in his body. There can be different treatment option. Okay, there could be surgical options, there could be radiation options, etc. So if the radiation has to be given, he has to decide how much radiation has to be given on that particular part of the body. So for every patient, what I mean to say is that there's no standard tablet available. Okay, you take this tablet like Crocin and all that. He has to customize the treatment option for every cancer patient. And then he has to apply a lot of his experience, his knowledge, his know-how, and maybe the consultations with his colleagues. What IBM Watson does essentially is that when you do the examination of the patient and investigation of the patient, you submit all those parameters to that cloud-based software. Watson is a cloud-based software. It will give you what are the best possible treatment options available for this particular patient. And this particular, decision is taken based upon the real-time cases already treated in the world, because that data is available in the Watson cloud, Watson database. So it will try and match which is the best matching case for this particular treatment, and then it will say that best option is this one, number 1, number 2, number 3, and what is the success rate, and what are the various drugs used in this treatment. So today the softwares have become much more intelligent, much more, think like human, and they're very much customized for each individual. Okay. So this particular kind of treatment is called as evidence-based treatment. That if you're treating a particular cancer patient, what are the chances that the patient will get cured? How much time it will take? What are the risk factors? How much cost it involves, right? So all of those things are driven by software. And therefore what happens is that if manually you try and do this, okay, You have to refer to hundreds and thousands of pages of some kind of research, okay, to understand if I have to treat this patient, what are the various options, various drugs available, what are the new, discoveries in this particular domain, etc. It will take a lot of time. So it is humanly not possible to refer to those thousands and lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of pages. Here on the software platform, just click of the button, computer will process all that and give you a decision-making point, okay, which then you can use to treat your patient. So this is another example application of how digital can be used. One more example I will give today. You all know that how technology has transformed even the transportation and the cab industry. You've seen Uber, you've seen Ola, and when you book your car, when you book your cab, you book your auto or whatever vehicle, you're able to see how much time it will take. Okay, you book, then you undertake your drive. Driver comes, it shows driver's name. You can contact driver. You can make the payment online. You can repeat your booking. You can see your transactions. Everything. Your bill comes online. So there's a technology called as RFID. Okay, these are radio frequency based identification systems. So we use RFID tags. So what it does is that we had a challenge of in hospital environment. Normally we use people for transferring of the files, for getting some medicines or moving the patients from point A to point B. So these people are called as porters. Okay. So in one of our hospitals, we had a challenge of how do we manage the porters efficiently. We had that challenge. We had 60, 70 porters and it is 13 floors building. We don't even know where the individual is. So what typically the process used to happen is that, let's say, if a patient is discharged from a hospital from 13th floor, okay, now nurse has to call the porter. So she will call on the intercom, okay, and she will say, okay, please come to 13th floor and we have to take this patient to ground floor. He is getting discharged. So that fellow will also attend the intercom and say, okay, madam, I'm coming. Now after that, then there is no contact, okay, till the time he reaches 13th floor. Sometimes it might take 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, and we don't even know where the guy is. So what we did essentially here is that we used those RFID technology, and every porter in that hospital were given the tags. So they have to wear the tags. Okay, that tag is an electronic chip. It has got a small display and it's got 2 buttons. Okay, so when the nurse requests for the porter, in the computer itself, she has to say request for a porter. The way you book the cab, exactly the same way. Request for a porter. For what purpose? Moving the patient from this floor to that floor. System picks up who's the nearest porter. If the nurse is, booking from 13th floor, she might get a porter already available on 12th floor or maybe on 13th floor itself. Okay. So, and it will show 1 minute, half a minute for porter to reach to that location. Okay. If you say you are moving a patient, to the operation theater, so probably then 2 porters automatically will come because sometimes you need 2 porters. So all that kind of algorithm is there in system. So it will pick up the nearest porter. Okay. It will pick up the porter who's already free, which otherwise manually you have to check. Okay. If you call manually, which floor are you? He says, I am ground floor. Okay. Then let me check somebody who is nearer to me. All that was manual. With the system, because of the algorithm, because of those tags, and those tags work on the Wi-Fi. So that entire hospital is Wi-Fi enabled. Okay. So nurse is able to see who is the nearest porter. So the request goes to that porter and he comes within 2 minutes. Okay. And as soon as the porter sees that there is a display in the tag, he sees that there is a call from this floor, this nursing station. He acknowledges that. Just to press that button, he will acknowledge that. So nurse comes to know that he has accepted the request. Exactly like the cab. Okay, because he receives the request, then you see time to arrive. Expected time to arrive, ETA. Okay, all that is being done. So with this, we could improve the efficiency of nursing and or porter services by 68%. It's a major efficiency. And this particular, then from 68, we down the strength to around 40 porters. Okay, from 68 to 40 porters. So we didn't need those many porters. So efficiency improved by nurses, Okay, we could save, I think, 180 hours nursing time. Okay, because in that hospital we have 1,200 nurses working. So saving of 180 hours for the nurses using the digital platform, using the technology, right? Also improving the productivity, correct? Now see what is the ROI, the return on this investment, or what is the benefit of this? 180 hours saved for the nurses. Okay, number of porters reduced, so cost has come down, lesser crowd. Technology allowing you to check the time, how much time is going to take for the person to come. Also, it is allowing who's the star performer, who's the best porter performing there, how many calls he received, how many calls he could close faster, each call, how much time it took. Okay, therefore, who's the star performer? Then patient had to wait, let's say, for half an hour, 45 minutes for getting the services. Now it is mostly instant, maybe 5 minutes of wait time. So when he gets in discharge, he is able to go to his home much faster. So patient satisfaction, cost saving, productivity, efficiency, transparency. These were the benefits of using this simple technology for one hospital. So when we found that yes, there's enough potential and this can be used, then we rolled it out to the remaining hospitals. And if you get time, you can check your Google and say the RFID implementation by Manipal Hospital. So this particular case study is covered by RFID Journal of US in one of their episode. They have covered this in their magazine. Maybe you can Google it later. And also there was one of my interview which is there. So if you search with my name on the Google, probably you will find this implementation. It was appreciated a lot. So the reason why I'm giving these examples to you is for you to understand that the potential of digital as a technology in hospitals is definitely tremendous. And not only hospital, I mean, we are seeing it today, online payment. Online payments have transformed the way we do our transactions. How many of us today are paying cash? Very few people. Everything is Google Pay. Swiggy, another example. Okay, Paytm, Zomato, right? These are the companies which are not very, like 30, 40 years old companies. They're just 2, 3, 4 years old companies, startup companies. Suddenly they have become, billion-dollar companies. 4 billion, 8 billion, 14 billion kind of valuations of these companies today. Who are the people behind these companies? The people like you, right? Fresh graduates, 1 or 2 years of experience, some brilliant idea, okay? 4, 5, friends, they come together and they try and build something which can be used by any industry. It could be banking, it could be, healthcare industry, it could be used by any other industry. So the point is that digital is the mantra. Digital is the story, and digital only will take our country further to the next level. So coming back to the healthcare, definitely there's a huge potential in healthcare to go digital. And when you do digital in healthcare, specifically, what do we do? If you understand, healthcare has predominantly 3 stakeholders: patient, doctor, and a nurse. Okay, this is what the healthcare system is all about. Okay, then we have insurance companies, then the pharmacies, and that's a different diagnostics lab setup, etc. But predominantly, the 3 stakeholders in the healthcare is doctor, nurse, and patient. So when we are doing digital, the thought what we have to give is this digital is going to help who all from these stakeholders. Okay. Now let's take an example of a patient. If you and me want to go to hospital, what is that we will expect from hospital? Okay. A hospital which has got a fantastic digital footprint, which allows me to do a lot of things on my mobile app. So like Manipal, we have mobile app. Maybe whenever you get time, you go to a Play Store or App Store, download Manipal app. You can do a lot of consultations with Manipal doctor sitting at your home. You don't have to be in a city where Manipal has a hospital. You don't need to. For the basic stuff, cold cough, stomach pain, this, that, second opinion, consultations. You can book an appointment with Manipal doctor. It will happen on the digital platform. You will get all the prescription, everything digitally. Okay. So for patient, we can allow them to use the digital platform to search for a doctor, book an appointment, make the payment, do the consultation, okay, buy the healthcare packages, and also, manage all his family members through one app. Like my app has, my family members as a member of that, and my father-in-law and my mother, they are part of that app. And I can access all their previous records, all their past records through the app. If there is, I have given a sample for any investigation, as soon as the report is generated, it comes on the app. So I have a repository of all my prescriptions, what doctor has prescribed to me during each visit, whatever medicines were taken from Manipal, whatever lab investigations done by Manipal, all of that is available through that app. And this is how we empower our customers, we empower our patients to do maximum things, from their own smartphone. Obviously, there are certain things which you cannot put on the, technology. They have to come personally. There is a surgery planned, right? They have to come personally. But even during that time, they are able to understand who's their doctor, who's their care team. Can they check their, bill, current running bill? Can they check the room availability online? Okay. So that's called as, the inpatient experience. So in hospital, we have outpatient, inpatient experience. Okay. Then when you go to the room, somebody is admitted, there is an in-room experience. So there is again, we are putting some technologies. You see, some of our hospital has even Netflix, Apple TVs, okay, as a part of in-room experience. And a high-speed broadband is freely available in all the Manipal hospitals. Because we believe if there is a, we used to say kapda roti makan, now we say kapda roti makan and bandwidth. If you don't have internet, and then, it's difficult to consider or think of life without internet. So internet bandwidth is very essential because each one of us are so much connected on this platform. And for day-to-day life, the connectivity is an essential component, right? So each Manipal hospital is giving this internet free for all their hospitals, like what you get at airport. But probably in terms of speed, we are providing the fastest internet, right? So in-room experience for the patient, OP experience, IP experience using technology. That is one area. Now let's come to doctor, the second stakeholder in this digital, healthcare system. Now, a day in a life of doctor, if you understand, doctor, first of all, we have shortage of doctors, we have shortage of the skilled doctors, and therefore, their time is very, very important. Okay, so we have to make sure that doctor is able to use his time very efficiently so that each patient gets doctor's attention adequately. So, if I'm able to provide doctor with a, let's say, small app, when he gets up, he is able to see who are his patients, who are his inpatients, those who are admitted under him, or who are his outpatients, right? If you can see on the app. So even before he comes to hospital, he knows that these are the new patients, and these are new appointments of the new patients. Okay, how many of them are new? How many of them are the existing one, the repeat patients? For which patient the lab reports have been posted? Is there any critical parameter for any patient? If all of that data is given to a doctor on his smartphone, don't you think that he will be able to plan his day more efficiently? Because otherwise, in the absence of all of this, he has to first of all personally come to the hospital and then check, ask or whatever, okay, who are the patients today, how many of them are there today, and then accordingly he has to plan things. So if you are providing this information through a smartphone, through an app to the doctor, he would be able to plan things very properly. Okay, that's number one. Number two, when doctor comes to hospital, he goes to the IP area, the admitted patient, the wards. Okay, so they say doctor is on the round. Okay, so doctor goes to see the patients, okay, who are admitted under that doctor. Now he goes to bedside. Then bedside, the nurse is there. In the manual format, how things happen. One nurse will be with the doctor. Maybe a couple of junior doctors also will be with him. Then they give the information to him. Why can't we provide all the information on a smartphone to the doctor? When he goes to that bedside, he just puts the patient ID and he should be able to see all the information. And then itself he can do the ordering or some additional inputs or whatever he has to advise for that patient and submit there and then move to the next patient. What is happening in the sort of traditional system is that nurse will carry a small diary with her and then she will write the things on the diary. Then from that bed they go to the next bed. Then there again the next patient they will write manually. From there again go to the next bed, again write manually. Then come back to the nursing station and then make the entries in the system. This is time consuming, right? So if we are able to enable the technology for a doctor, giving an app on his phone, through that app, is able to see all the patient information at the bedside. Okay, in that case, he is able to effectively use his time, and it will be real time, and all the data will get captured on the system. So this is as long as doctor is concerned. So more and more data you make available to doctor at the point of care. This is called as point of care. So that bed is a point of care. OPD, where we go for normal, cold, cough, headache, whatever. That's also point of care, you can say. Okay. So in OPD, he needs the data for the OPD patients. In IPD, he needs data for the IPD patients. When he goes for the emergency, there he needs data for the emergency patients. So if we enable technology to do this in a real-time basis, and today the mantra for the success is making the data available on a real-time basis. Like when you see your Swiggy boy or an Uber guy that he is 5 minutes away from your destination, then you can think, okay, I can at least make 1 or 2 calls. So when you come to know in the real-time basis how much time, whatever task is going to happen, that's going to take, you can manage your time more effectively. And that is where the efficiency comes in picture. So this is all about doctor. Then many times what happens when the patient gets discharged, the maximum time it takes for a doctor for discharge is signing the discharge summary. If I can make discharge summary available on the mobile app, if you can just read wherever he is and approve or disapprove or modify discharge summary, that will have a major positive impact on the discharge time. Trust me, in any of the hospital, patient is getting discharged. If they are able to digitally sign the discharge summaries, the discharge time can be, not more than half an hour to 45 minutes, which is otherwise 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Okay, that much time somebody has to wait in the hospital. So that's the potential of technology as far as, again, doctors are concerned. Coming to the nursing area, nurses are the backbone of this healthcare industry. Okay, while doctor does his job within whatever 5, 10, 20 minutes, the care part is, there with nurses. They are there with the patients, especially the inpatients. Somebody is there for 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, 8 days, 10 days, 25 days, 30 days, many times. We don't know, depending upon the case, right? The patient has to stay in hospital. So nurse is a primary contact for the nurse, for the patient. If she doesn't have time, okay, to spend with the patient, okay, and if there is no personal touch, it won't meet the purpose of the treatment. Because today, no matter how fancy is the hospital, so to say, how nice is the building, so to say, okay, how repaired is the hospital, so to say, if there is no personal connect, if there is no personal touch by the staff with the patient, right, I don't think it will be a good thing. Because each one of us, we expect some kind of, personalized attention. When some of the relative get admitted, we want that somebody has to come talk to us, understand what pain we are going through. Okay, so we have to make that time available for nurse to spend at the bedside or talk to patient. She goes inside to take the check BP or to check the pulse or to check whatever. Sometimes to collect some sample for some investigations. But each time when she goes inside, if she smiles there and she talks to you for at least half a minute or 1 minute, you'll feel better. If she says, "How are you doing, sir? Okay, how about your lunch? What is going to have today in lunch?" and all that. So when she interacts with you, the person feels better, and that is where the personal touch is considered most important in this kind of long-term treatments. So to make sort of nurses time free, we'll have to automate a lot of tasks what they're doing. Otherwise, they will be busy in documenting things, writing things, putting data in computer, this, that, and they will hardly have enough time to go to the bedside and talk to the patient. Many times, patient, he presses the bell. It takes 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes for a nurse to enter into the room and talk to the patient, and that is sometimes very frustrating. We all of us have experienced this most of the time. So what we do is the third stakeholder is a nurse. Okay, and for that nurse, how do we make her life better? So there we can use some kind of technology. Whatever routine task they are doing. Just an example. Now every time nurse has to order some ward stock. Okay, these are the medicines, or these are the consumables which she has to order very frequently. Okay, let's say there's a bandage, okay, or cotton, or some let's say crocin tablets. This is the kind of stuff which they have to keep there at each nursing station. Now, rather than manually every time ordering in the system, can I automate the process that as soon as my stock falls below, let's say 20 tablets, let there be automatic ordering. So as soon as the stock comes down, put automatic ordering in place, order goes to pharmacy, they bring the medicines and nurse receive it. This is just one example. Likewise, they used to create order for almost 20 different orders they used to create manually in the system. And though that material is needed anyways for the department. So one is the departmental consumption, and two is a patient to patient. For patient, a specific medicine has to be required. So leave that apart. That is anyways we have to order when the patient needs that. But whatever is the ward stock has to be there, which is required in any case. So when we automated this for some hospital, almost 90 to 120 manual orders were eliminated. They were made automatic. As soon as the quantity comes down, goes, orders. And we were able to release a lot of nurses' time. Now, where is this time is going to spend? Obviously, when the patient is calling, they're free. So each technology piece when you bring in, okay, if that is able to save even 10 minutes of the nurse, and then if you calculate that, if there are 1200 nurses, so you are saving 1200 minutes for the organizations. And those many minutes, that much time is going to be used elsewhere, where it is needed. So this is the third example, which I gave you. So we spoke about doctor, spoke about patient, we spoke about nurses. Okay. And if I keep talking, probably, I'll take another 3 to 4 hours to cover what else we can do. Point I'm trying to tell you is that how even an IT person is able to contribute to a care delivery process directly or indirectly. And that is where, again, that satisfaction from within it comes. So it's not just a job for me or a job for anyone who's there in this industry. It's also a satisfaction of doing something. So end of the day, we all will do some job, some business and earn some money. But what, as an add-on you get in this industry is that you get the satisfaction that you are connected with somebody and trying to help somebody to cure faster. Okay. So these three stakeholders, and then comes the management, where people like, us are sitting there. Okay. And while we don't contribute directly, I'm not a doctor or I'm not a nurse. Okay. But then we have to make sure that whatever infrastructure, whatever system we build, our colleagues, our friends in the hospital are able to use that. So we have to train them. We have to make technology simpler. I'll do something that if your Zomato or a Swiggy app is very complex, and for you, let's say you have to order one pizza, it takes half an hour. I don't know how many of you are going to order pizza through, that app.
Absolutely.
But there's another app which will be just, a minute, gone, and says 20 minutes to come to your place. So the simplicity, the ease of use of anything you do today, is very important. If whatever you develop, if it is not simple, forget about it. The user will not accept it, right? So some of you might be getting into, the technology development domain or whatever new stuff you build up from your ideas. Please try and make sure that those things are simple to use. even for technology, when we deploy technology, we have to come to the level where a doctor thinks, because he's not a technology expert, he's a clinician, he's expert in his own domain. And in India, typically, in larger hospital like Manipal, each doctor has exactly 5 to 7 minutes to see a patient in the OPD. Let's say 7 minutes. In that 7 minutes, whatever technology he has to bring, you have to bring, and he should feel that the technology is a part of his process. It should not also change his behavior. Then the technology becomes useful for him. Otherwise, typically the doctors community are not very tech savvy community. Yeah, the new generation is now, there's a difference we can see. In the last 13 years, I have seen that. But one doctor sees almost 80 patients in a day. And he thinks, nothing is, as simple as pencil and paper. Now, if you're asking him to make a digital prescription, right? You're giving him mouse and keyboard and smartphone and this and that. He said, I can't do this. Can you give me something, which is more simpler? Okay, or he can just dictate, okay, for this patient, crocin tablet 3 times a day and whatever. So some technology can be a voice-based technology where it can translate or convert to a prescription. Or something like today we have touch-based. Everything is simple there. Let's say for one dermatologist, we have created the order sets. Now what is order set? So he sees a patient has come, let's say a girl, 21-year-old, pimples. A very common problem. Okay. Girl, 21 years old, pimples. Some symptoms. Immediately he will get what medicine should be ordered for her. And what investigation. Order set within half a minute. As soon as he enters the age, pimple has a symptom, okay, automatically order set comes. In half a minute, the prescription is ready. Okay, it will all predefined order sets. They are all predefined order sets. So for each specialty, for example, pimple is one specialty. Dermatology is one specialty. Okay, so then we can create this kind of order sets. So make their life much simpler. Now he's not writing, the 5 names of the medicines or also do the blood test or do whatever. He's only putting pimple. Since when? 1 year. He gets prescribed. Printed. So now 7 minutes versus half a minute. That is where the difference you have to make. Let's go to some, another specialty, internal medicine. A headache. Okay. Now I go to doctor, I say I got a headache. Since how long you got a headache? Okay. Your sleep pattern, this, that, all that he will check. Automatically, a proposed prescription is coming now. So system has already programmed in such a way that if these are the symptoms, this is what the prescription looks like. Then there are some changes can be done. So prescription will type everything in a simple language. This medicine, that medicine, after food, before food, after 30 days come for everything is typed, already, prepared there. You just say print, it prints. So now 7 minutes can be 4 minutes. If 7 minutes can be 4 minutes, then that doctor can see more patients in the given time. And therefore, he not just he can see the more patient. The waiting time for patient has come down drastically. Now he says next patient. Otherwise, again, all of us know, the average waiting time in the OPD when you go to the larger hospitals, half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes 1 hour. Sometimes you don't even know what time they will call you.
Yes.
Yeah, they will say, okay, wait, doctor is seeing patients. Wait. So, with digital intervention, okay, lot of these things we can improve. And also the fact that we have shortage of doctors, if their time can be used efficiently, effectively with technology, I think that is where the use case is available for all of us. And whenever we catch up with more number of doctors and all that, that might take another 1 decade or 10, 15 years for us to have more of 3 times of the present number of doctors. So that is going to take a lot of time. But we cannot wait till then. And pandemic kind of situations are going to be very, very uncertain situations. We don't know which next pandemic is there in pipeline. We don't know. So I think technology has to be used effectively. We have to gear up. This is what my thought as far as digital hospital is concerned. And again, to sort of reiterate that there's a tremendous potential into the healthcare industry. If we are really serious to contribute in whatever way we can contribute to this industry. And this industry needs, brilliant chaps, those who are interested, those who are keen to contribute. So I think with that, I'll take a pause here, and we'll take some question answers.
Absolutely, sir. I absolutely understand the constraint of time that you have, your engagements. I have written certain questions of my students that I'll ask you one by one. Sir, my first question to you is, it's a personal question I would like to start with. Normally, people would like to end with, but I would like to start with in order to have some change of the views as well. Sir, my students are asking, sir, what has been your professional journey so far, and how you reached to such an epitome of success?
Okay. See, many times what happens, you don't plan anything in life, right? You just happen to be there as a matter of certain actions or certain decisions. So I never thought that I will be in a healthcare industry. But let me just take you, a little bit of this journey part of it. I started my journey as a faculty member in an IIT, okay, teaching computers to students. So I really enjoy interacting with students, by the way, and I could really, improve my confidence levels there. The way we deliver things, right? That is second, because it is not how much knowledge you have, how much of that you can deliver to your, audience. That matters. That audience can be student, audience can be your, boardroom, audience can be your colleagues, audience can be your boss. The audience can be your wife, your kids, your brother, your mother, your sister. Doesn't matter how much is there in your mind. It only matters how much can come out of it. Okay, in a manner which is understood by others. So to make it simple, again, I'm going back to this point. So when I started my journey as a faculty member, and I was a junior trainee faculty, and then a junior and senior and technical aid in an IIT, and then from there, I don't know. Suddenly, I thought that probably there's nothing more for me to learn now. So some option came in a manufacturing industry. So that was a jump from training to manufacturing. Then there again, I did some kind of programming and all that. It was a very different environment, because what happens when you're teaching the classroom? Okay, it's a very different environment, right? We can make mistakes. You write a program, something goes wrong. It's okay. As a student, you can just correct it. Now you're in an industry where you're writing a salary slip of an employee. Can you make a mistake? You're programming a salary slip of an employee. Okay. And there are, let's say 3,000 employees. So your computer program is now going to generate a salary slip for 3,000 employees. And if one mistake happens here, it could be disastrous. Okay. So it's not that mistake won't happen. It may still happen. Okay. So my experience in the manufacturing was that you have to do a lot of trials of what you do. Dry runs, mock drill, what you call. Test what you're, going to implement. So to really focus on the testing, the rehearsal, I would say. Suppose you are taking part in drama, right? So you rehearse more. So that the chances of you making mistake on the stage are minimal. I'll not say zero, minimal.
Minimal.
Okay? They're minimal. Let's be very practical in life. That is how I have seen life. From manufacturing, then suddenly, I moved to an industry which is into garment exports. Okay. And that was the Government of India body, Apparel Export Promotion Council, based out of Delhi. From small town, Nagpur, right? I moved to a city called Delhi. You don't know anybody. There's no godfather. Okay. Some entrance happened and I got selected, and then I got a job there. So there I was doing the role of the systems analyst. Now, this role is basically to do with to design the foundation of the system for IT systems. So that industry was basically, exporting the garment from India abroad to SAARC countries, NAM. There was a NAM nations and all that. And we were supposed to write programs. Okay. So government used to get the quota from different countries, and then government had the exporters in India. They will allocate that quota. They have to produce that kind of material. Suppose 1 lakh t-shirt has to be exported to US. Okay. So that exporter gets the order and he has to produce, and all that has to happen through system. the allocation of the quota and all that. So from that, from the government exporter, that will be then sent through government to the customers abroad, and you get a foreign currency. So that was under Ministry of Textiles. So I worked with them for some time. Then I moved to logistics as a company. They are into containerized cargo. You see those Malgadi, okay, the goods train. You see all those containers there, 20 feet, 40 feet size containers. So Container Corporation of India Limited, again Delhi, okay, under Ministry of Textiles. So I was assistant director there, taking care of the systems. So automation of the entire containerized cargo. Okay, let's say from Delhi you are sending some material to Chennai. Okay, so you book the container and then the container comes to your factory. There you load your material. Suppose you are selling some television sets. Okay, so you book the container. So container comes to your factory, let's say in Delhi. Now that material then goes to the depot. From there it goes to Chennai on the train. Okay, then in Chennai port, then you have to receive that container. So tracking of this entire containerized cargo. And this was a railway network which we used quite effectively there. Okay, so at each station, railway station, we used to track that train. Okay, there used to be the tags, some kind of barcoding, and there is readers. So when the train crosses that, the reader will read, and the exporter will get an SMS that his cargo has crossed this station. Okay, this was almost 13 years back, actually, 13, 14 years back. So even that time we could use technology, and so much of work was done in Conquer, Container Corporation of India Limited. Okay, so that was the kind of work we used to do there. A lot of automation we could do there. From there, then I moved to again manufacturing industry. That's Hindalco, Aditya Birla Group, and there's a place called Renukot near Banaras, a very remote place. It's only a colony area. So it was an aluminium manufacturing plant. Almost 28,000 employees. 13, 14 years back, their turnover was roughly around 12,000 crores. And I was taking care of the IT for them there at Renukot. So there the entire manufacturing processes, okay, of the aluminium manufacturing company, right? Those process automation using Oracle ERP. That was the project which I was driving there. And that was then implemented. From manufacturing, then I joined GMR. I don't know if you guys have heard about GMR. They have built the airports. The Bangalore, Hyderabad airport, Delhi airport. Okay. Then the two more projects in abroad also at time. Okay. So I moved to the airport industry, aviation industry. And they also had the SEZ, social economic zones, and the highway infra. Build those super highway, express highway like Bombay-Pune express highway and stuff like that. So those kind of projects they used to handle. So I was part of that IT. How do we automate the airport infrastructure, airport IT systems, your display systems, your booking systems, announcement systems, this, that, a lot of those things, the security system, the boarding related systems. So we worked on those kind of projects in the airport industry. So I was there with them for a few years. And then finally I landed into healthcare industry, where I am currently today. This is the longest stint so far. I mean, 13 years in this industry is amazing, I'm telling you. So what I learned actually is that no matter where you work, industry vertical is irrelevant to that extent. If you're able to apply, your thought process and make it workable for the business, okay, then that knowledge is important. Otherwise, I don't think the knowledge is important. Second important point is that you got to know how to work with different people. Okay, when you are a part of a team, if you are a team member, or even if you are a boss or you are a team leader, everybody will have some kind of strengths and weaknesses. Okay, you will need to understand one thing, that how I can use the strength of the people to drive the common objective. Okay, many times what happens, we don't try to fix problems. We try to fix people. In the corporate world, if somebody makes a mistake, then we always say that ye banda aise hi kaam karta hai, ye galat kaam karta hai hamesha. Okay, we don't try and analyze that what is that something wrong which he's doing. So if you have to correct somebody, you have to think that task what that person is doing should be corrected, and not the person. Person is same. He's got two eyes and, one heart and two ears and all that. So never try to fix the person. Try to fix the problem. Okay? And more you try to understand people and also connect with people better. It's easy to work with people. So I have worked with diverse teams, by the way. Coming from a small place called Bhandara near Nagpur, right? And today taking care of the second largest healthcare chain and their IT division in India, and also we had a presence in Malaysia, right? So I think the important factor here is that I think people management other than your knowledge. So one is your knowledge, how do you implement your knowledge, to how do you manage people. I think these are the two great learning for me to answer your question, Professor.
It's a remarkable answer, sir. So beautifully you have shared your journey with us. Sir, understanding the time, I would take this as the last question of the session. And sir, the question is, sir, what is your suggestion to the government of India in order to implement IT so that we have a reasonable healthcare infrastructure?
Well, I think the suggestion would be definitely we have to promote more and more startups in India, because India is a country where, it's a very cost-sensitive country, sir. Very much cost-sensitive. We can't buy products and solutions from outside and try to, fix our problems with those solutions. We'll have to have some Indianized solutions for us. Okay? Because when you try to import some of these solutions in terms of maybe product or solution, right? One is that it comes with a huge cost, number one. And it is an affordability issue for us, right? Obviously, if those technologies are not available in India, that's a different question altogether. We can always get that kind of knowledge transfer and try to build those technologies here. But I don't believe that we can't, create those kind of solutions in India, because even if you see US and Europe, 30-40% people are Indians only, those who are doing those kind of, developments there. They're Indian minds. Maybe because of the lack of the opportunity, those guys have gone there. Okay. But coming back to your question, if we can promote more and more startups, give them more and more benefits, more and more, shops to sort of start this kind of industry in India, and make the infrastructure available to them in every, A class, B class, C class city. Okay. Motivate people to, start this kind of setups. I think that will help us creating those high-end solutions within the country, which are more for India, more Indianized, and more at a reasonable cost.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Very well answered, sir. Sir, with this, I bring this session to conclusion. On behalf of IIEBM, member of staff, students, I thank you for your knowledge sharing session. I'm confident my students will be immensely benefited with this constructive discussion. Thank you so much, sir, and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you. My pleasure. Take care.